And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Danny Kanell. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 Tailgate, where Brennan and Tripp and Joey and Brad and so much more are jumping in on the fun. Oh, that's right. Jeffrey acknowledging the if you take a show off, you owe beers to the rest of the crew for carrying the show. Bud, your tab is being calculated.
Yeah.
Fornelli now has some on his tab as well. We did not get a chance as we got into our dark horses, chalk donkeys discussion on Thursday. We didn't get to the Big 12 and the ACC. We apologize for giving you the Lindsey Buckingham treatment. We're going to get you in as part of a mailbag question. Just a couple of news items. Bud's been out on the recruiting beat, and he's got good insight on a big-time commit that we had from over the weekend. But since we are delivering to you our live mailbag episode of this holiday week, if you jumped in early, you got the conversation going, we're going to get you started. Trig says at 10:26 a.m. Eastern time, he pulled in. He understood he wasn't the first, but he had a great question to get the conversation going. What has been the crew's favorite "I told y'all I was right" take? Alternatively, regardless of the current vindication status, what is your favorite "they hated him because he told the truth" take that you have? I mean, Bud, you did show up with a safety vest on.
That's true.
After 2 weeks of saying that James Madison and Tulane did not have the Jimmies and the Joes to be able to field a competitive game on college football's biggest stage, the games were wholly non-competitive. I mean, James Madison, Oregon, I will say, was fun from the perspective of lots of big scoring plays, but that Duke's defense was never going to stop the Ducks, and that was pretty clear early.
That was probably a good one. I'm hesitant to say this one because everybody is always certainly allowed by the rules to improve, but the Marcel Reed will turn into a pumpkin, take into like 11 weeks, and then.
Well, you also had the, like, if we were to look at like a win probability chart, the South Carolina game was when you were like, I am so right. And then you're like, wait, I don't know. Okay.
Exactly.
Now I have to recalibrate.
No, it came back hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Danny's had some good ones.
I'm trying to think. Last year, I think I was on Texas when they lost to Florida. I was like, they're done. Like, they're not making the playoffs. And everyone's like, well, if they do it, maybe. And then when they lost to Georgia, they were cooked, but they were still trying to sell the 9-3. I'm like, you guys have no chance. No one Texas fans didn't like to hear that. But I do think I was right all along. Sark, of course, said, what if we didn't play Ohio State? Maybe we won't schedule them. But that was probably one recently last year that I felt pretty strong about early in the season after they lost to Florida, and it ended up being right.
First year, the 12 team, I thought SMU might get in over Alabama, but that was just like, I mean, the amount of time for me to beat that drum was like 6 hours, right? It wasn't as though I had to really face the firing squad on that one. So I was just trying to think, I was trying to remember where we were on FSU in 23, whether we thought it was or was not going to happen.
I thought they were in all the way up until I watched the ACC championship game the night before the selection. And the way they were talking about Florida State, I was like, uh-oh. Oh, boy. I mean, they were trashing them. And, I mean, it was an ugly game. But I was like, oh, this is a problem. And,
Jesse, this is just not the team that won all those games during the
season. Who wants to watch this team in the playoffs?
Then at that point, let's see. Bo Nick's first round take, says Jerry.
Yeah, that was a doozy.
But that's just like a take that didn't hit. That's not I told y'all I was right.
Right. That was the wrong.
Tom is screaming right now that his thought that expanding the playoff from 4 to 12 would lead to expansion creep. Yep. 2 years of a 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
We're already starting to jack that thing up. So lots more. Feel free to drop your favorite "I told y'all I was right" in the tailgate. We might highlight a few of those later. Other questions as well coming from the tailgate. Bud, you have been moving about the country. You have been out at the opening. Before we get to the big time commit and an interesting player comparison that you have. What's the recruiting beat been like as the month of June, as we tell you all year long, that is the big recruiting month. Moves are made, official visits are planned. Players have to decide which school they're going to for which Big Cat Super Duck weekend, like whatever it's called at your favorite school. What'd you pick up, and what were some good takeaways coming out of the opening?
Yeah, I do think the talent continues to spread out, not to every level of the sport, but you don't have just one team just kind of hoovering up every single 5-star anymore. So you pull up the latest 24/7 sports rankings, 8 teams have at least 2 5-stars right now. Yeah. It didn't used to be that way, and I do think there's a bit of now more teams can spend money on this, which is pretty solid. You're not going to have 40 teams or 50 teams have a 5-star, but that's been going really well. Notre Dame just absolutely they're just vacuuming up all the good offensive linemen. They've got several more. They got Albert Simeon over the weekend, big time offensive lineman from Louisiana. So Irish are totally killing it. Definitely taking it to a different level than Brian Kelly ever had it at, right? So I do think there's real staying power there for the Irish. Miami obviously has been on a tear. They got a top 2029 quarterback as well. I really like this corner named Osborne, who's going to Oklahoma. This kid is a freak. I put some clips of him on Twitter, and somebody replied he moves like a video game character, and I was like, yeah, that's actually kind of accurate there. I liked what I saw from Jake Narot, the kid going to Kentucky, the quarterback. So Will Stein may have a nice one coming to him there in Lexington. Also just recorded their summer school right before this. And then A&M over the weekend got a kid who is fun, man. A lot of people are oh, yeah, he's kind of tired. They'll say some kid is kind of like Tyreek Hill. I just haven't seen him in person, and I've seen Tyreek in person. The way they move, this is different. Now, he's small. I mean, he's 5'8", $175. The stop start and all of a sudden full speed destroying angles of other really good players. This is the only kid I've ever seen. Yeah.
Did you hold on? And Striker, I don't know if we've got the ability to back it up, but 57 and 66, the offensive linemen are looking at each other I can't believe he did this. Watch them. They're about to come in the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, look, they're going to start looking at each other. They're going to be like, can you believe this? Oh my gosh, I can't believe he's so fast.
Yeah. He's really the only guy I've ever thought that's Tyreek, so that was fun to see. I'm interested to see how Texas A&M will use him in their offense. Obviously, I think he's a better player than Branch. Zachariah Branch, the guy who went to USC and then transferred to Georgia, was sort of the last guy some people thought was kind of Tyreek Hill-esque. Mm-hmm. I think he's a more natural player than he is. Obviously, size is the size, but it's pretty hard to get a ranking that highly if you're 5'8". But I think he deserves it for sure. So that was a good one there.
How tall is Craver? 6 feet, or is he 5'10", 5'11"? Mario Craver, wide receiver for Texas A&M, who will be back this season.
He might be close to 6.
Okay.
But this is the guy if he's not touching the ball 8-10 times a game starting his freshman year, that's a mistake. He's good enough to where you have to scheme up touches. I think he will outrun guys even in the SEC.
Because size is the size also means when you're playing Texas A&M schedule, you can't ask him to hold an edge.
Correct. Yeah. No, probably not going to be a whole lot in the blocking category. But I do think he's I think he's pretty twitched up, and strong for his size. Yeah. He's really nice. Clemson's got a really good one, and Jamaron Simmons coming. Nobody could guard him at all. I was talking to Ivans in the lunchroom between all the sessions. He's kind of like Devontae-ish, where Devontae Smith has that thing where his feet don't really touch the ground. It's how is that foot moving when this foot hasn't even come down yet? That just super light feet type thing, just kind of that little bounce, and he's so skinny, and it looks like you should be able to just jam his ass, and all of a sudden you just kind of whiff him. So there was a lot of nice players out there. It was good to see the opening, finally be back at Nike.
That's Clemson.
And because there was no flights into Portland, I had to fly into Seattle, so I just had to stop into Chambers Bay on the way, because it's directly, down the way from Seattle to Portland.
Did you play?
I did.
Nice. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, it was fun.
Did you have good weather?
Great weather. It was awesome. Had the metas on, so like I'm on 17 there as the train like pulls right away as I'm putting. So like clicked them on, showed the boys, and it was cool. The sand is hard though. Like if you've never played like Pacific Coast,
I haven't.
Like waste bunker. Like have you ever been to the beach on the West Coast?
No, I haven't played golf on the West Coast. Period.
It's like that rocky.
Okay.
Like
I have been to a West Coast beach. I get you now.
Yeah. So imagine like that being all the waste bunkers. I should have gotten a caddy for sure, because the other guy who was playing up had one, and it was like, hey, instead of like shooting at the green unless you can carry your pitch like 165 and land it soft, put 20 yards on, hit it at that mountain there, and just have it roll down soft. It'll come down. I was like, I never thought of that. That's great. Shot 94, so with 2 birdies. So it was a roller coaster.
Listen, no, that's that anytime that you can walk away with like some big numbers and a couple birdies at a historic course, I think you did your job. Yeah, some holes that they beat you into forgetting, and some holes that you'll remember forever. It's about all you need.
Have you guys ever had a flight that was delayed but not delayed for takeoff? They're like, yeah, I think like I couldn't figure it out. I was like, why? It was like, oh, the wind. I didn't realize till we got up in the air on the red eye. I was like, I'm gonna sleep on the red eye. Cool. And then we took off on time. I think there was like the wind conditions were so weird. It was like, yeah, you'll get in like 30 minutes later.
Oh, because like the jet stream, you're going against.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was not a smooth ride.
I guess you took off on time, but it just was late.
But it knew it was delayed before we even took off. It was like delayed, but that says like, well, how is this delayed? Like the takeoff time is not this. The takeoff time is unchanged.
That's math, baby. A podcast of science. Shout out to wind speeds and force. It's incredible stuff. A few other sort of newsy items before we start to get into our dark horses and chalk donkeys as promised. Official finality to a story that we've kind of referenced, but only because I don't really feel like I've got the personal side of this. And the personal side is that there is a lot that's packed into edge rusher Chaz Coleman, transfer from Penn State, super, super talented player. And there were some injury issues. There were maybe some personal issues, and there was questions about whether he would play football at all, right now. And so I will admit right here, I don't know any of the nitty gritty on any of the personal stuff. I think that I can participate in the conversation of how you step forward, names that have to, move up. Maybe if you were a Tennessee fan, you were hoping that Chaz Coleman was going to, just things were going to work out and he was going to end up showing up on the field. But that is not going to be the case. Tennessee making it official, parting ways with 5-star edge Chaz Coleman. Bud, do you have any specific insight on sort of the moves here? Because I'll let you talk first before I just start speculating on this one.
I don't really I feel that I can say on the air. You know what I mean?
Right, because I don't know Chaz. Yeah, I don't know his family. Right. I don't. If he's going through something, it is something that I am not aware of, and that's I try to give a little space there.
Right, exactly. Like what we do know is extremely high cost free agent is not going to be playing for Tennessee. A guy who
like a $2 million player, a $2 million edge rusher.
Yeah, and I said this on Twitter, and Tennessee fans were like, he wasn't going to play. I'm like, if your $2 million edge rusher ain't going to play, guess what? That's still a problem. Mm-hmm. Or wasn't projected to play. Like that's not a developmental type investment there. I think I read it might have been on Hummer CBS Report that he's staying on scholarship. Or something like like staying in school.
There seems to be some support there. It does seem as though this isn't like one of those relationships that's broken down and created a lot of stuff that makes you feel icky.
Right.
But it is disappointing because of his talent and what he could potentially be for Jim Knowles' rebuilt Tennessee defense.
I got no sources, but reading between the lines, when you see homesickness and dealing with it almost seemed like a mental health thing. Like, let's get him healthy. Let's figure out. That was the kind of way I interpreted it. And if he is staying on scholarship, maybe they are saying, hey, let's just, it's hard. Football's hard. Like, it's a hard sport, right? And it's not and even if when you're making a lot of money, I've seen guys walk away during training camp in the NFL, like just quit and say, I can't take this anymore. So you never know what's going on with somebody personally. But this is back-to-back years. We're talking about big. It was Nico that long ago. Tennessee's they've been through it with some players that, like you said, $2 million, you're expected to play and expected to contribute. You know, it's not easy to go through back-to-back years for Josh Heupel.
I've got Tyree Weathersby, Jordan Norman as maybe names that need to be able to step up. I mean, this defense might have half transfers in the starting lineup. If not half, maybe at least like 4. So it is very much one that with Jim Knowles coming in as your new defensive coordinator, a lot of pieces that are having to get moved into place. You just lost. I mean, I know that McCoy had his health issues, but you just lost 2 secondary players to the NFL draft. There's a lot that needs to be mixed around there. Something to maybe keep an eye on as we continue to spin Tennessee forward. Chaz Coleman individually as one single player does not change my overall read on Tennessee.
I think it lowers the ceiling,
sure.
Right? Like you could say, hey, if all this stuff clicks, right? If the freshman quarterback is really good day one, it's just a phenom. If Chaz Coleman is right and is dominating as what they expected him to be when they signed him, then I think Tennessee, like I thought, like there was a chance they could surprise people. I'm not saying they can't still have a nice year, but I do think it captures ceiling a little bit. Maybe somebody steps up and is dominant. I don't know. I have my doubts.
I think that if I liked Tennessee to wind up being part of those tier 2 SEC teams that are contending for playoff spots, I think they can still do that. But it is incumbent on what you said. That I said last week, I think Faison Brandon's going to be great. I think he is set up with a great running game with some good wide receivers, 5 players on the offensive line with some experience. The offense, you know, if he steps up, he's got the skill set. That's my Tennessee bull take. And you're just hoping Jim Knowles is going to be able to carry the other side of that. I wasn't saying I think Tennessee is going to be a tier 2 SEC team contending for playoff spots because Chaz Coleman's going to have 13 sacks this season, right? I mean, It was just that the defensive trust, I think, for me is a little bit more coaching based than individual, with an acknowledgement that Tennessee's just been recruiting at a high level. I mean, Tennessee's just got a talented roster. They spend money. Their evaluations have been pretty good along the way. And so there's a little bit of trust there. The Chaz Coleman story, as it's sticking with me, is a little more personal, you know, or just at least away from the X's and O's on that one.
I would agree with that. I do think there's an element of, okay, if we're where we wanted to be in, what is this, year 5 of Hype or year 6?
It was 22 the first year? Because 22's Hendon Hooker beats Alabama. Was that year 1 or year 2? That might have been year 2.
So I think this is year 6.
Okay.
You know, like then I think you would hope you're at a point where Mississippi State, Auburn, Kentucky, Arkansas are just absolute gimmies.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know that they're actually there.
Ooh. I like that. But that was year 22 is year 2.
So, year 2. So this is year 6. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Last little piece here. Can Congress really tell conferences they can't expand? Is there any chance that gets through? That felt like one piece of the Protect College Sports Act where now all of a sudden I'm like, whoa. That doesn't see, I'm not going to give a good projection on that making it all the way to getting signed into law.
I'm still not convinced this thing gets signed into law.
At all.
Yeah.
In any form.
Correct.
Okay. So all these little markups, passing committee and this, I mean, it's like, because the headline is, it's passed committee, could go before a vote. This is the farthest that any college sports bill has ever made it through. I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. Like, I mean, it's just, we've gone through the Schoolhouse Rock steps farther than we ever have before. And what happens when bills go to committee? They get things changed and things marked up, and then they get sent back and re-voted on. And when I saw the latest updates, including a freezing of conference expansion, I mean, that almost flies in the face of the history of college sports.
Well,
go ahead.
It also locks in some of these schools that are represented that have been left behind by some of these senators. Like if some of Cantwell's motivation is what happened to Washington State, wouldn't this also lock and prevent upward mobility?
Like if Washington State could move from the Pac-12 to the Big 12?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure what they're going to say is like, hey, with the pooling of the rights, like, this new socialism is going to get a lot more money to Washington State. I'm just not sure that's going to work.
I have very little faith that something gets done. And the biggest bummer, and Tom brought it up, was why'd you try to tackle so much? Like all of it. I mean, Tommy Tuberville had the Student Athlete Act, which was very simple. It was like the three things that addressed the eligibility and the transfer portal. One other like very simple thing. Like that would have been a great start. Like let's get off the ground. Let's get something fixed. But instead, it feels like they try to tackle it all and nothing's going to get fixed. And we're right back to square one.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like I think there are things that a skinny bill you could have gotten through, right? Like let's say, let's go ahead and put in the law the age requirement thing. Like, I think that's justifiable. Look, it is absolutely essential to our business of college sports that our athletes are college students. Okay. Like that's probably something that's pretty defensible in a way that, like when they claimed that athletes not being paid was essential to our business model. And they were like, it's essential to the amount of profit you guys make, but it's not actually essential to the model. Right. But like college sports being college students, that makes sense. And then related to that, I think probably something that would hold up in court, for the most part, those college students being of an age that that the general viewing public would generally associate with college students is probably also defensible. And maybe a transfer thing. I still think the way Tuberville had it was not going to hold up, honestly. But maybe one is slightly more permissive could have.
I'll always remember I got a sit down with John Swofford before he stepped away for the ACC commissioner. And I was trying to get all the like stories and background on, different levels of conference realignment. And at one point I was kind of like, man, like what's going on in like this era? And he walked my ass down a history lesson. He was like, come on, young buck. Let's go 4 years before that, more conference realignment. Let's go 8 years before that, more conference realignment. Let's go 8 years before that, more conference realignment. He's like, these things, he was talking, he didn't use this reference, but he was talking about them like they were meteoric events, right? Like, well, yeah, every 6 or 7 years ago, the West winds bring in some of that conference realignment. And it's almost like what college sports needs to be able to continue to push forward. Freezing expansion and freezing realignment seemed like it was, it almost flew in the face of college sports history. So that one piece of this sort of jumped out to me, but if it doesn't pass, it doesn't matter.
Have you guys read any of the Kyle Saunders Substack? He does a lot of like political reporting, reading tea leaves on like what bills will pass and whatnot.
No,
it's pretty good. He kind of counts the votes and like who's pulling on each senator and each representative. He said he has it like 15 to 20%. He wouldn't put it in low single digits because there's some chance that they basically tack this on to a bill that everybody has to pass, right? And that like nobody's willing to filibuster a huge bill over the College Sports Act being in it because it's maybe like an important budget bill or something like that. Or potentially in the lame duck session where some of the SEC got, which is after election, right? Like a little short session at the end of the term there, where they no longer need the votes of the people in their constituency, right? And they just go ahead and pass it anyway, even though like a lot of your representatives from these SEC states are going to get a lot of pressure to not vote for this. But still, 15 to 20, even with
15 to 20%, yeah,
seems low.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, coming up on the other side, for years we've been telling you dark horse picks from every single conference. But what about the chalk donkeys? The teams at the top that might not meet expectations. All that and more next.
This isn't just combat. It's cinema.
Ready or not, here I come. Let's go! Are you not entertained?
The new home of UFC, Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, dark horses and chalk donkeys. We hit the Big Ten and the SEC last Thursday. We cannot send you into the holiday weekend without showing some love to the ACC and the Big 12. Let's start with the fun stuff. DK, who'd you identify as your dark horse for the Atlantic Coast Conference?
Oh, I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for the Pitt Panthers.
Oh,
I have times when I just fall in love. Hail to Pitt, I love Pat Narduzzi's toughness, but I do think he's got a young, talented quarterback in Mason Heichel. I mean, watched him firsthand, one of his first starts going to Tallahassee and light him up. Now he doesn't have Desmond Reed anymore, so that could be challenging. But even more importantly, I think the schedule is pretty favorable for Pitt, where it lines up pretty nice for them, where, they could, well, now we saw them a couple years ago start off 6-0 and then collapse toward the end. But if they could have a similar start, off the jump, Miami of Ohio, UCF, Syracuse, Bucknell, at Virginia Tech could be a really good game. Wouldn't be shocked if they won that. North Carolina, Boston College, and they have to go to Miami, but they catch Florida State at home. Louisville on the road. Louisville on the road could be one of those ACC title implications, who's going to be playing against Miami. So I think Pitt, if things kind of come together for them, I think they could have a season that could surprise.
Yeah, they were certainly on my list as well, Danny. I have some D-line concerns there. They got picked over a little bit. They can do a good job of scouting, but you still have to have money to go splash the pot and bring in the guys who can play. But I mean, Narduzzi's had kind of iffy D-lines before and still had really good defense because they just blitz their butts off and make it work.
I was thinking the same thing, man. I didn't know Kyle Lewis before Kyle Lewis.
Yeah.
It's just turn them through. I mean, who's going to be the next NFL draft pick out of Pitt? It's just they get there. If they buy into the system, they're going to play hard. They're well coached. It's the Heichel is the X factor there. Is if he's out there, if he takes some steps forward after a great, confident start for a rookie, then yeah, absolutely. They could go out there. I do think that from a scheduling perspective, at Louisville, at Cal, do you know what that screams to me? That the people in charge of scheduling got down to the very last pieces on the board. And they were like, see, here's the deal. We've either got to send Clemson to Louisville and Cal in back-to-back weeks, or we're sending Pitt. And then they looked across the ACC Illuminati and it was like, I'm sorry, Pat, you're going to have to eat this one again. We're not sending Clemson to those two and back, or maybe Miami. Choose your favorite son of the ACC, whoever your conspiracy mind might think.
The chat, by the way, is saying, I think for purposes of the discussion, Miami, Louisville, and SMU do not qualify as dark horses. Right.
Definitely not.
They're saying Louisville's the dark horse. No, they're very much known. That's not it.
Miami, Louisville, SMU
are the top three odds to win.
You can't tell me, or I would guess they are that, but I was just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
An expectation is that they should be competing for a spot in Charlotte.
Right. Yeah. If Louisville or SMU don't make the title game, one of those fan bases is pretty disappointed, I think.
Yeah.
Gosh, it would be so like the ACC for them to beat Louisville, be in the driver's seat, and go to Cal
and lose.
And Cal's 6-5 or something and lose. SMU last year.
If SMU had just beat Cal.
Yeah, they're in the ACC title again.
Right. And it's an ACC championship game between two 7-1 teams who are ranked inside the top 25. Yep. It'd be perfectly normal.
We wouldn't have
we wouldn't have to have the Coastal Chaos 6-way tiebreaker, determined by a 12-sided die,
Right.
Come on, Rhett. I know Rhett Lashley is a huge fan of the Cover 3 podcast. He's angry about where we ranked Kevin Jennings, but he understands. He knows what needed to happen on that last Saturday night of the season, ACC After Dark. Okay, Bud, who you circling?
I went NC State, and for many of the similar reasons that Danny did, a quarterback that we know is at least good, and I think has some real upside here, obviously. And then the schedule is, I have some concerns, right? Some line of scrimmage concerns. I think Doran generally does a good job with that, but it's not a guarantee that it hits every year. But the schedule to me is pretty manageable. You get Virginia, which I think is technically a road game now since it's no longer in Brazil, right?
Correct.
And then you go Richmond. If I'm going to play Vandy, I think I want to play Vandy early when they might still be breaking in freshman quarterback Jared Curtis. Then you play App State. Then you get to host Louisville. You get Wake Forest. You got to go to Stanford, but then you get a week before you host Cal. So you have to come back across the country, but so does Cal have to go across the country. Then you get Duke, then you get Syracuse, then you get Florida State, then you get North Carolina. There's a pretty decent chance. I mean, What's the over-under on head coaches still coaching their teams in the last 3 games?
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
One and a half?
whoa. Whoa.
Syracuse, Florida State, Duke, or Syracuse, Florida State, Carolina. Last 3 games of the year. Over-under of head coach still coaching 1.5.
Under. I think Syracuse and North Carolina are still not in fire your coach mid-season mode.
I mean, that's pretty late in the season. They're only like 2 weeks out of Thanksgiving.
Or, but even on the other side, even if they're not fired, it could be checked out, like team checked out.
Yeah,
even
correct.
if the coach doesn't get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, is NC State favored in
8 games? 9 games?
Yeah.
I like
think
it. Yeah, I mean, it is set up. It is right there. The table is set. The at Vanderbilt game will be, if nothing else, an emotional checkpoint for NC State fans looking at their football team, because that is the scarring that I see. I mean, get North Carolina in Carter Finley Stadium. They're geared up and ready to go. They know that they're going to have these blood battles against, the likes of a Wake or even against a Florida State. It's going up against SEC teams. It's playing in bowl games. It's getting invited down to Atlanta to play in a Chick-fil-A kickoff and then just getting absolutely dusted. Remember when they played Tennessee in Charlotte and it was just non-competitive on your screen? That's go beat Vanderbilt in Nashville. Now, all of a sudden, those homestands that you saw on the screen are going to have a lot more pep and a lot more roar to them. So, yep, the big one there, September 19th, taking on Jared Curtis, and I definitely agree with you there. Was Virginia Tech on the list? I'm guessing. I felt easy.
Yeah.
I was just the first one in the doc. So it's not just a James Franklin, but it is, as I've said before, a relitigation of Ethan Grunkmeyer and how well he played last season, thrown into a really, really difficult situation. I think he's going to be a really solid quarterback against ACC competition. And I mean, keeping Brent Pry around kind of leads me to believe the defense will be pretty good too. I think Virginia Tech is set up to, I don't think Virginia Tech's talent is worthy of considering them a threat to Miami. However, I do think they are solid enough that you could see them coming up on the right side of a couple coin flips and being able to at least be a threat. How about this? I do not think Virginia Tech will be in Charlotte. I think they will impact the title race.
I think that's really fair.
They'll beat somebody, but I don't know if they're ready to be consistent enough to win all of those games, because they do have some challenging games on there that'll pop up along the way.
This is more of a grind. Like, they don't have enough of those sort of like bottom 7 teams in the odds where, there's kind of a pretty meaningful shift in the odds when you look at the bottom 7, right? Like Boston College, Stanford, Cuse, Carolina, Wake, Duke, Florida State. Like, they don't have enough of those teams on there.
But Virginia Tech has enough to get 8 wins.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, what about Chalk Donkey? Let's flip it to the other side. And this is funny because Tom, who was prepped for the show, because obviously we were preparing for this last week, said there is not one. There are no Chalk Donkeys. Chip said there are no Chalk Donkeys. Bud, there are no Chalk Donkeys. But Danny,
I didn't know that was an option. I thought there was only one potential Chalk Donkey, so you had to put it in there. Like, it's going to be, here goes Kanell again, hating on the Canes. They're the most obvious. And to be fair, we'll do it. We'll do another conference where if there's anybody that would be a Chalk Donkey, it has to be the biggest favorite in the league. So I put Miami in there. I was going to talk about potentially how it could not come together, but I don't want to get clipped and put on some Canes website and say Kanell hates the Canes. But they do have a lot to replace.
Yep.
They haven't won the ACC in 20 years. I mean, it's like it has to be the candidate. They've got to replace a lot on the offensive line. I feel like you trust them because Mario's done a good job, but you're trusting a freshman in some circumstances. You got to replace a lot of production on the defensive line. They bring in Damon Wilson. Like, you got to keep the culture going, which I think they will, but I put him there because it was the only Chalk Donkey candidate. I didn't know you could just opt out, chicken out, not put anything.
Well, all right. So this is a great point actually from a Louisville fan. If you want to throw Louisville on there and say, I haven't seen enough Lincoln Keenholtz, Like of the Louisville SMU, if you're going to start from a position of quarterback, we've seen a lot of Kevin Jennings, which might have a cap ceiling, but has a very high floor. I mean, we talked about what he can accomplish on one leg. You know, like if he's out there moderately healthy, he is a plus value, one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC. I don't know if Lincoln Kienholz is that. I can assume based on Jeff Brom's history with other quarterbacks, what it could end up looking like. But I also thought it was going to work out great with Miller Moss, and it did not. So if you wanted to chalk donkey this for the Cards, I would understand for picking another option. I think that the Canes, if I was going to get specific about what they lost, I do wonder about the offensive line. Not that they don't have talent there, but that group was such a difference maker in the playoff run, the way against Texas A&M, against Ohio State, lower scoring games it was a possession game. I mean, the most Mario Ball thing ever. We are going to hold the ball for 38 minutes. We're going to get a 1 touchdown lead, and you're not going to see the ball again until the third quarter. You know, like that kind of stuff was really thanks in part to, in my opinion, to their strength along the offensive line. They've got very talented and big bodies that are taking over there, but it's still something that I think needs to be shown.
Yeah, I agree. I think offensive line, like defensive grittiness too, like just the leadership and just the no quit that they had last year. When you watch them, I thought it was visible. And I do think that's something that doesn't always carry over year to year. Like they still have height, weight, speed, like physical talent, no doubt about it. Like no other roster in this league looks close to them. Do they I thought they had some serious leadership on that defense last year. So I guess that's somewhat of a question. But man, like if Mensa starts all your ACC games, they're in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like that's the one weakness on this team. I do think he's one of the very best quarterbacks in the country. And if he stays healthy and upright, I have a really hard time seeing them not at least get to Charlotte.
Mark Fletcher's back. Malachi Tony's back. Cooper Barkate's there. Like
the receiver core is nasty.
Receiver core. I mean, and I think you've upgraded a downfield passer. I think
Damian
Mensa.
Doubt.
Okay.
Yeah, Mensa over Beck all day.
Mensa over post-surgery Beck is going to unlock the downfield passing game and take it to another level.
Yeah.
Love that. All right. Coming up on the other side, we turn our attention to the Big 12. Dark horses, chalk donkeys, and a few shout-outs from the group of 6 and more. Next.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ hits every highlight from all the sports that matter to you.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, streaming free 24/7.
Before we jump into it, can I say one thing?
Of course.
So Russell, the Bama quarterback.
Oh, Keelon Russell.
Saw him out at the opening. Yo. Somebody's not been missing very many days in the weight room. He was always kind of lanky, and I'm like, oh, that's a grown ass man. Okay. All right. Like they might have something.
Yeah, I know. There were just too many people. Just too many people.
Really sure you want to take under 8.5?
Well, I mean, it's just there were too many people coming out of spring practice that were given that kind of like, I don't know, it might be good. I don't know, he might. Like everyone's like, no one wants to rush to push the Keelon Russell like all the way across the line, and maybe that's coming from the coaching staff, right? Like we've seen that happen where local media is almost influenced by the coaching staff to be like, yo, do not pump this guy's tires yet. Do not gas him up. Like we need this to be a good competition. And sorry to pull the curtain back, but the incentive structure of a local like beat reporter, especially if you're feeding information to fans, is to kind of have that good relationship with the coaching staff. I think Keelon Russell might be a top 5 quarterback in the SEC this season.
Yeah,
he could be. Let me ask something. Is he bigger like he's filling out and maturing, or is he bigger like Mateer?
No, he's not like linebacker size, but he was always like a little bit
right.
lanky.
He's just he's maturing. Yeah. He's both like the way you would want to see.
Yes.
I don't want to freak out Oklahoma fans, get a lot of backlash. When was the last time you saw a great quarterback who's just chiseled and like huge? I mean, Tebow was that way, but Tebow got so big that I thought it impacted his ability to throw. Like now you get tight, like it tightens you up. I was like a little bit like, man, everybody's raving about Mateer, how good he looks. And he's going to run, so he needs to have some bulk, but he's like a power lifter.
Okay, so I didn't go back to watch any clips. So the Manning Passing Academy material positivity is just coming from his looks, or was it also just the way he was playing?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think people were like, "Oh, he can throw the ball." Clearly he can throw the ball, but I was just it's just something I like. When was the last again? Like how many great quarterbacks? It's like 3-point shooters. Like you typically don't see them like bulky. They're like Tom Brady. All he talked about was elasticity and being flexible and able to like a rubber arm. We use that description all the time. Like get a rubber. You don't think of guys that just muscle the ball. Brady Quinn's somebody that comes up that had a great college career and was huge.
What about
he's one of the only ones I can think of that really threw the ball well. That was that physique.
Manning Passing Academy. Somebody said Mateer. Somebody said Noah Fafita also was looking good out there. You on CBS Sports Network last week, you were giving some love to Fafita DK, those 73 touchdowns, and kind of like a player who I think for a lot of college football fans they're going to have an oh yeah moment when they watch Arizona this year. So that'd be a fun look. Noah Fafita, throw him in that, like, we know that guy is going to be a college football player first and foremost for the rest of his football playing career. But I'd be happy for him if he had a good season.
It does suck that the schedule Arizona got given this year is ridiculous.
So flip side, that means all the good teams got to beat Noah Fafita.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
From our perspective, like that means if you think you're a good defense in Texas Tech, well, guess what? Here comes this this wily, big-armed escapability. Like you can't quite get your hands on him. He's got all this experience. Yeah, you will not have me chalk donkeying the Arizona Wildcats.
No, he will impact the Big 12 title race.
Right. Yes.
I don't know if he's going to be in the Big 12 title race.
No, he will be in the spotlight game that we are talking about, the Big 12 title race.
They're going to get somebody. We're going to not go live at least one time this year because Fafita, they're like, oh, that's a game. Like we can't go live to that stuff.
We can't go live until Fafita takes down BYU or something along those lines. All right, Danny, what about dark horse in the Big 12?
Oh, I think I've mentioned this team a couple times. I'm on Houston. Willie Fritz quietly last year put it together, had some really nice wins, beat Arizona State on the road, 10-win season. And Connor Wegman, I feel like he found his level. It's like he struggled in the SEC. He's coming to the Big 12. He's back, one of the better returning quarterbacks. Couple road challenges are going to be tough, Texas Tech and Utah. But every other game I look on there, I think Houston can win. So I think Houston could be a player in the Big 12.
They're going to be good, man. And like with the freshman quarterback as well, like mixing in at least. I think they're pretty damn good.
This rocks so much. We take in a lot of information. We don't always get a chance to spotlight this. That's Willie Fritz taking his team to Statesboro, man.
Yeah.
That rocks. Did he end up winning national championships at Georgia Southern, or did he just always have a wagon when he was there? Willie Fritz was Georgia Southern, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he is taking his Houston team to Statesboro, Georgia. And like Clay Helton's on the other side. Like that's fine. This to me is about Willie being appreciated by the Georgia Southern fans, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If
their road schedule's crazy.
Yeah. It's very crazy. Like Houston's road schedule.
Yes. Yeah.
Like they've got to go. Yeah. It's
the two tough ones are Texas Tech and Utah. Kansas State. That's not
getting
to
easy. Statesboro is not easy.
Yeah. Right. And then like at West Virginia, it's just I don't love that. To me is one of the bigger disparities, like home road. I don't really want to go to Morgantown.
No, you don't want to go to Pittsburgh, then drive to Morgantown.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. At Colorado, it's and at Salt Lake City too. It's a tough one, but a fun team, no doubt. Bud, who do you have as your dark horse in the Big 12?
I have Kansas State, actually.
Let's go.
So got Avery Johnson back. He has actually 2 years left with this new 5-for-5 thing.
Ooh.
So yeah, So the senior thing won't count against him. So
he's got blonde hair.
Right, he does have blonde.
he's got blonde hair.
He does have blonde hair.
Yeah.
Most days.
Yeah.
But so you get him back. You get the new coach in Colin Klein, who I think will probably really connect with a mobile quarterback who knows what to do with that. I think the schedule's really manageable. You know, like they could absolutely start 6-0 here. Nickel, for our listeners at home, Nicholls, Washington State, Tulane, at Cincinnati, Houston, Kansas. Then you go at Arizona State. That probably won't be easy. You go at Colorado. That could be easy. I think Oklahoma State at home's a dub for you. Like, I like what Oklahoma State did, but I think they did a lot to get back, you know, on the bowl game side of the ledger. At TCU is probably tough. Then you host Arizona, and then you got to go to Iowa State, but I don't have high hopes for Iowa State this year. Like, this is really – how many games are they favored in?
The thing that's so crazy
10?
to me about this is that you've got programs that might otherwise seem intimidating in very, like, playing Tulane is as easy right now as it's been in the last 5 years.
Correct.
Coaching change, total loss of like roster. And you know what? Will Hall might get it back going just because Tulane does have a culture around there that wants to field a winner. But right now is
an odd hire at least, right?
What?
Like a bit of an odd hire, I guess.
Your Mississippi, Louisiana background. That's that'll sell me. I'll take that. Cincinnati, again, like other years, Cincinnati has had a more talented team than I think Cincinnati will have this season. Colorado is obviously going through it right now. So it's a lot of playing teams at the right time, and it could be a special season. Do you think this team can win the Big 12?
Yeah.
Danny?
Yeah, I think they could. I mean, I think the Big 12 is one of those ones where you could make a case for 5 or 6 teams, you know, at the top. I don't think it's quite as deep as it was last year, but I think there's a little bit more of a clear balance of where the teams are. But
like, I don't think I think you need Texas Tech to come back to the pack significantly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the gap between like a BYU and Utah and a Kansas State Houston is that big.
I agree with that. Not as big. You're looking at the DraftKings numbers on the board. Thank you, Stryker. If you're watching on youtube.com/cover3, it's Texas Tech at +100, BYU at +550, Utah at 650, then a jump all the way, as Bud just mentioned, Kansas State at 1,400, Houston at 1,600. I would agree with you. The BYU and Utah, Kansas State does not feel like that big of a gap.
Yeah.
Interesting. Chalk Donkey. Anyone going to throw Morgan Scalley in Utah on there? Or are we just
we didn't get Chip's dark horse.
Dark horse for the Big 12, Arizona State. Good coaching. If you liked Cutter Boley late in the season with Kentucky, you know, all of a sudden you watched a couple games, saw him throw against SEC defenses, and you said, I don't know, man, that guy can play a little bit. He steps in. Arizona State's floor, I think, is higher than what's represented. The schedule is tough. Undoubtedly, the schedule is very tough. But when it comes to just looking at like their spot in the Big 12, if they can go and get a road win against Texas Tech or BYU, I think they start to tilt things in their favor. In terms of the rest of it, it's going to be a spot where the same way that they had to, you know, come up on the right side of coin flips to be able to make the Big 12 title game, it might have to be a path, kind of like 2024. I believe in Kenny Dillingham. I believe in the coaching staff, and I'll buy a little bit of Cutter Boley stock, as it kind of feels like he's off the radar when we talk about Big 12 quarterbacks.
Where's their bye week? I was looking at that schedule on Arizona State.
5, 12, 19.
Oh, it's after Kansas. Okay, that's a pretty early bye.
Yeah.
But I mean, you flushed the Texas A&M trip out, so it's not, you know,
right. Yeah.
Hawaii it's a very strange schedule.
I felt like I left the summer school when we spoke with Chris Cartman. I felt better about how they felt about the lines of scrimmage.
Offense and defense? Because I don't know if the defense is going to be good, but
they felt like they did a pretty good job, like scouting and developing some like the guys who were next up.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool. Feels good.
Okay, so Chalk Donkey. Texas Tech.
Yeah. I mean, so I think it's like the one clear cut where it's such a heavy. I mean, and this one I actually do feel like Miami, you feel like, man, you kind of got to sell yourself. This one I don't think is that crazy to say they could fall short. You know, I know they're talking about running the ball, but Will Hammond, when does he come back? How comfortable is when he comes back? I mean, they lost a lot. I know they reloaded. The schedule is so easy, though. My goodness, that's where it's like, how can they not do it? But I mean, Jacob Rodriguez was like their quarterback on the defense. He's gone now, so they got to replace him. There was a lot.
David Bailey.
Yeah. And I mean, just the distractions and everything. Like, I think they'll be fine. Like, I'm not predicting they're going to be a chalk donkey, but I do think they're the clear-cut candidate where it's like everyone's picking them. So how can there be another chalk donkey?
I get that's probably fair. I went just to be different with BYU because they're second in the odds in the league right now, and I'm just like I don't know, man. I like Satake a lot. They definitely have talent. I think they got a lot of defensive talent. I'm not sure that they have enough at the pass catcher spot.
BYU has a more difficult schedule than Texas Tech.
Yes. Is it more difficult in the conference though? Or are we saying that just overall because they have the Notre Dame piece?
I was trying to think that I was looking at Texas Tech's schedule as we had it on the screen, and I was thinking even if they are a chalk donkey in form or quality, they still probably make it to Dallas.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that it's just the schedule is set up. This is a scenario with BYU where I could see them losing at TCU, or I could see them losing at Utah, rivalry game. And if they get picked off one more time, now all of a sudden you're not even making it to the Big 12 title game potentially.
I think that's fair. When I look at this, I see Kansas, I see Baylor, I see Cincy, UCF, and Iowa State. Like, if they're anywhere near as good as BYU fans think they are, that's an easy 5-0.
Yeah.
I'm just not so sure that they are. Now, the counter to this is that the quarterback was starting as a freshman and didn't get spring ball.
Right.
And did take him to the Big 12 championship game. And I remember like vividly when I was doing summer schools, like, that's a good point. Like, that's a true freshman, no spring ball, who's coming in and starting and taking you there, like literally learning on the job. So I think you have to allow for the chance that we're wrong about him, and that I'm underestimating the jump he might take.
Yeah, Marcel Bachmeier. We can go ahead and call him Marcel Bachmeier for buddy purposes.
Yeah, right. Like he might end up being really good. Who knows?
Sure. I think I had him. Oh no. It looks like kids got a stomp rocket on the roof. I was hearing I was hearing like scraping on the roof. I was like, that's not a squirrel. That's not a bird.
Oh my God.
The neighborhood kid.
Is it gettable with the blower, or you got to get up there?
Well, I mean, I'm on the Cover 3 podcast right now. This is for, I see somebody else's mom out there. So like, clearly listen, man, you know, it's summertime.
Yeah.
I was going by and there was like a pickup basketball game happening outside of Donut Shop. And I went in and they're like, all right, 45-39. I was like, oh, that's cute. They're like setting up scenarios, got my coffee, got my donut, came out, and they were like, all right, 62-57. I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys have been playing here forever.
Oh my God, I love it.
Okay, what about BYU, Texas Tech, fair ones? What about best of the rest? Dark horse, chalk donkey. You can choose which way you want to go with this. Would you like, or what, when you wrote it down, texted it in, when did it feel like that was something you were ready to stand on business?
Ooh. So I'm worried about what East Carolina lost off its roster.
Yeah.
But I do think the schedule is kind of manageable. So it wouldn't shock me if they pulled something here. Like, this is very dark horse, but.
And I will specify, I believe, Bud, correct me if I'm wrong, you're talking about dark horse in the, like, could wind up in the American title picture.
Yes, right.
Because App State and Alabama on the non-con is extremely difficult.
Oh, no doubt. But yeah, like they'll probably take their licks there, and then we'll settle in to conference play. You know, I like to get USF at home, Rice at home, Temple at home, right? Southern Miss at home, and then you got to go to UAB, you got to go to Memphis, right, which is probably not easy. To Charlotte is easy. To Old Dom, we'll see. They did lose the quarterback. And then obviously to Army is kind of tough. But this is one of the easier schedules, I think, in the American.
I could see.
In the conference, obviously, like Bama on the schedule is not particularly easy.
And for those who weren't aware, what the many things, I mean, the whole roster did get picked over, but it included notably Caton Hauser is now going to be your quarterback at Illinois, and your offensive coordinator is now your offensive coordinator at Ole Miss. You know, so it's you're getting hit on all sides in terms like the upward trajectory kind of hit the Pirates across the board. What about you, DK?
I don't even know if it's a good dark horse because I think North Dakota State, I saw a stat, they might be favored in every game. So I don't know if they're a dark horse, but I think they're going to make the jump just fine. And then for Chalk Donkey, I put Boise State. I mean, last year they were the only preseason favorite to win the conference at minus money. And then they fell kind of well short of that. I just wonder, and it's not really a knock against them. I just think they were a program that was probably, early on in NIL was able to keep and retain some of their talent. I think now they're getting plucked a little bit more, so they don't have quite the edge that they used to as one of the top tier group of 5, group of 6 programs. So I had them. I think they are the favorite too to win the Pac-12.
They are.
So I had them coming up just short.
I mean, new sort of you could just sort of get caught in the chaos, right? New
and they lost to Fresno and San Diego State last year.
Yep. You got San Diego State running second there. That's the other piece of the Pac-12 title picture is I think that when I am handed a form to fill out in the preseason, I will put Boise State, but that's because it does feel like I need to ask for a lot of things to happen for some of the other options. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is it, let's see if we can get it. Is it, how can we do this without Tom? Is it Occam's razor? Is that the thing? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like the thing that it might just be the easiest answer. It might be the one that might make sense for a reason. Boise State will win. I don't know. They won the WAC like that. They won the Mountain West like that. They'll win the Pac-12 like that. But I don't necessarily have the depth chart lining up. What about, could I talk y'all into Hawaii in the Mountain West?
Ooh, okay. They return a lot.
Micah Alejado back at quarterback. So you've got same quarterback in the same offensive structure. Kind of felt like they were a little bit frisky last season in a way that they were not bottom feeders in the Mountain West. And the Mountain West, as we've detailed extensively, does turn over, losing your Boise States and some of those teams that you might have considered at the top. So when we're looking at that Mountain West title picture, you'll hear me probably throwing out Jackson Arnold, Dan Mullen, UNLV as one of the top options there. North Dakota State presents its intrigue, but I'm just as a fan of a certain age, excited to see the run and shoot and see Hawaii out there with a team that I do think is going to be a little bit more competitive as a whole.
I like that. Can I give you one as well, like an extra bonus one here? Or we're running too long?
No, you're fine.
Troy might be back.
Troy Boy is back.
So, all right, like they took the OC from Tarleton State, which was the highest scoring offense in the FCS last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if Troy's going to get any stops on defense, but I do think they're going to be pretty fun to watch on offense. And your pick of Hawaii reminded me of this. Like, oh yeah, Troy's about to throw it around like crazy.
Yeah, that needs to be just sort of like a new. As we're gearing up and we're giving you, we're doing all of our win totals and we're counting them up and we're just like, getting you in the count them up, getting you in the mood for the season. We do need like a fun rating or like a fun watch list. Teams that's like, we are not promising wins and losses. In fact, we are vehemently not telling you to bet on these teams over under, but you sure be watching them. Like,
yeah, like the most watchable teams of the year. For whatever reason. I've got a couple in my head already. Let's save it. That's a good. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do. Stryker, I'll give you the heads up on this one. We have a question in the mailbag for episode Bud is on, the one about the summer school series. Let's hit one of those and then we'll preview what the summer school schedule has coming up.
Let's do it.
I guess we got either one of these. Let's see. This question, I see you, Striker. This question comes from Spotify. We appreciate everybody who jumps in the Spotify comments. This says, for an episode Bud is on, coming out of summer school, which team are you more optimistic about, and which team do you have new concerns for?
Ooh, okay. More optimistic about. More optimistic. Trying to think here.
Arizona State, maybe? I mean, it sounded like
Arizona State, maybe Mississippi State. Honestly, like that just came out. I think Taylor has some real upside there, and I don't know that I believe that they actually upgraded the defensive line. I think they took some very high variance guys who didn't have success at other places, but at the same time, if they just get like one of those guys to hit and they play like a super chaos style defense that gets the ball back either via sacks, turnovers, or touchdowns allowed, right?
Yeah.
You're at least going to start to play the type of tempo that you want to Mississippi State. I love this fan base. I think they're awesome. I didn't realize how bleak things were at Iowa State. Like, I did not have them circled as like worst team in the FBS contention. I thought they were kind of a level above like a Boston College and I'm not, and a Stanford. Now I'm not so sure. It felt very, and I know we don't really use year zero as much in the portal era, but I think due to the timing of the hire, this looks to me like a true year zero.
Proud fan base.
Yeah.
But I mean, the history books do not lie. The older Iowa State fans might be being like, all right, I guess we're going to go back into a drought. Like that's going to be tough. Jimmy Rogers, of course, new head coach there, challenged with trying to get things, to build whatever you can build on coming out.
Power 4, not FBS, excuse me. Clearly, like they're not worse than ULM. No, I misspoke there.
Okay. All right. Well, summer school is reaching its final stages. Tomorrow we'll have the Pitt Panthers. Then on July 1st, Arkansas, followed by Maryland, Minnesota. Celebrate your 4th of July with Bob Chesney and UCLA. And then on the 5th, the Louisville Cardinals coming out. Then when we get into July, boys, Media Days is here. We get on the other side of this holiday break. We wrap up this summer school, and it's going to be time to be giving you our previews, our takeaways, Media Day reaction, setting the table. We'll be back to a little bit more of a regular schedule in terms of Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Then, and I'm going to go ahead and message this several times over the next 2 months, we are going to be making a slight change to our regular season schedule, okay? I'm going to give everyone a second. Pull over to the side of the road. Okay, don't try to write this down right now because we want to get you Big Game Breakdown even earlier. Dropping Big Game Breakdown on Wednesday gets you a little bit of time, but man, that just bumps right up against Locks. And we know how y'all love the way that Locks is very much, the picks, and the Big Game Breakdown, a little bit more of the nitty gritty and the X's and O's or the stakes, kind of setting the table in the storylines. So our Big Game Breakdown in the regular season, okay, in the regular season, once we get started, Big Game Breakdown will be on Tuesday. So that means we'll be having live shows on youtube.com/cover3 on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday night. Of course, then we get into our reaction shows Tuesday night. So we'll have some doubles near the end of the season for the college football playoff rankings release. But Big Game Breakdown is moving to Tuesdays this year. Give you a little bit more time to digest it before we get into locks and so much more.
Hello. We got a book club recommendation.
You got it. Danny's going to pick up the mantle.
Yeah.
All right, Tom owes you
I have
beers.
one. I have one for Tom. Let's
go.
Chris.
All right.
I mean, I was going through these. I really wanted to have a good one. I thought about giving you Marty Smith, Sideline CEO, but we're all in the business. We kind of know that's a really good book. I was going to give you The Man in the Arena, great book, but I like books with pictures, and I think Tom does too. And it's as long as it's not relationship advice, there's nobody better in the business then secrets of the short game right there for Tom Fornelli. I mean, it's got everything.
No way.
You know, it's got everything. Look at that. Nice pictures, demonstrations, you know. So that's
No,
what I thought
he really has his extension really good there. You know, he's like, yeah. Oh my goodness.
There you go. It's a perfect book. He's working on his golf game. We'll get him help. Get him the help he needs.
Yeah. I surely hope that Tom Fornelli is not having a Phil Mickelson week on his vacation. Oh man, good stuff. All right, so have a happy and safe holiday weekend. We will be back next Monday. Summer schools will be able to keep you locked and loaded and ready. And again, when we meet back, it will be July, and that's when the season will feel real. And you can follow him on Twitter at Danny Kanell. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
See y'all.
See ya.